that case, we don't really have to wait, do we? Yes. Okay. We'll go ahead and get going. Lynn, you want to call us to order?
I do. Miss Berry.
Here.
Miss Casper.
Here.
Miss Flom is absent. Mr. Hammonds is absent. Miss Myers.
Here.
And Mr. Vella.
Here.
Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay. It looks like we get to hear from Bart.
Okay. So we have our superintendent spotlight video. We're going to take a look at some EPIC students that qualified for the Oklahoma Arts Excellence Awards. Go ahead, Jeremy. Thanks.
I'm really honored that they chose me.
I'm being nominated for Oklahoma's Arts Excellence. It's taking together all of my experience that I've gotten throughout my 4 years of high school.
It does make me feel like my dreams are within reach and pursuable.
Maggie Sherman, Epic Charter School.
Not only to be chosen for the award, but to be chosen to be one of the people who gets to perform and show why that I was chosen. It's kind of reassuring that I'm going where I need to go.
Emma Thornhill, Epic Charter School.
It feels really wonderful to be recognized for this because I just worked so hard for it and I've put so much time and effort into dance. It's lovely to be recognized for something that I care so much about.
Charlie Stout, Epic Charter School.
It feels good. It's not only recognizing my artistic ability, this award gives me confidence to have my career in the future and be successful.
I'm very thankful for EPIC for giving me not only a place to learn and grow, but also a place where I can be myself and expand on things that I love so much.
EPIC has really given me the time and patience that I've needed to excel not only in school but in my craft.
Epic teachers are just so good at motivating you and wanting you to be passionate about what you do, and definitely I wouldn't be able to get this award if it wasn't for Epic.
Super proud of these kids and super proud of our teachers. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and so we just wanted to recognize over 1,000 educators that are teaching over 30,000 students across the state of Oklahoma and the work that they're doing. And so you had an inside glimpse to some of those special students here at EPIC. And one of the things that's really cool about our model is the flexibility that it provides. You know, so many of those, particularly like dance, for example, there are hours and hours and hours that are committed on a daily basis to practicing and to mastering that craft. And so our model allows them the flexibility to go ahead and get their work done maybe in 3 to 4 hours within the morning and then spend the afternoon working, on their craft. And so really, really proud of those kids and proud of the honor that they received.
Do we have committee reports?
Nominating committee.
No,
They're both missing.
Wanted to suggest that EPIC create a policy for selecting board members where there's a rotation in the board, and I will bring that for next month.
Okay.
We can put it into place, and you can do what you want, but if we want to just keep the board members the same for just one more year and then have that start and go into place, we can do it. But you can take a look at that, and it'll be there next month.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. So now we get to hear from Bob. This is fun.
Technology works. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, good afternoon. And if you're not smiling, you will be when we get done. And it won't be because I'm a captivating presenter. It's because of the content, entirely the content. I want to say the content is the measures of lots of hard work from a whole bunch of people. And it begins with students and the parents, works it all the way through the faculty and the staff and all the support teams and operations all the way up to the board. So let's take a look at a few things. Next slide. First of all, just as a reminder, I include this each month. This is the list of things that your board policies have expected you to have reported to you, so that you don't rely on somebody coming up with whatever they want to tell you. You actually drive this agenda based on your aspirations and your end statements. So just as a reminder, obviously if there's things on this list that you don't want on there, or if you have new things that you would like to, that would be board work that's very important to deal with. Next slide. This one is the beginning of the good news. I want you to take a look at the distance between previous years and this year and how much closer it is to the goal. The goal is, in theory, if all the predictive measures work and if we've calculated correctly, this should get us pretty close to the 50th percentile in the state of Oklahoma, which would be miraculous. Not really miraculous. It's to be expected from the work that we've been doing. So we'll leave the miracles for other days. But this is a very good, healthy indicator that things are going to look pretty good over the long run. Again, this is a predictive measure. Next slide. Now, for the last couple months, we've been showing math was lagging a bit compared to reading. Well, take a look at it this month. And it's thanks to Justin and his team of staff and faculty and principals and administrators that they've got that math moving in good shape. They're now at 30%. You can tell that it's well above the previous years and very close to the goal. Again, this is real deep-seated hard work. It looks simple on a graph, but it isn't in the classroom. Next slide. This is an indication, this is a weekly monitoring of the process. If you do well on student engagements, you do well on formative assessments. If you do well on formative assessments, the prediction is that you'll do well on state assessments. And ultimately, students will do well in life because they've learned the skill sets. I want you to notice that this is incredibly close to where you began the year. Remember that at the beginning of the year, everybody's excited to be here. At the end of the year, everybody's excited to be out somewhere else. And they're still engaged and still working. And that's a very good sign. And it's also an indication of why you see those good results in the academics. Next slide. Now, what's behind all this? Well, it's not all on the front lines. It's very important on the front lines, but leadership does matter. This is a graph of the results from 20 senior leaders, starting with Bart and working his way out a ways on the CCL, Center for Creative Leadership, Executive Self 360 Assessment. And what you find is that for all of the assessments that are done by CCL across the world, this is an average organization, the mid-range. This is a high-performing organization. And as you can tell with the 234 raters, that you are well above average. You're a very strong organization for the kind of senior leaderships that you have. You have particular strength in leading change. Surprise, surprise. There's no shortage of change here. You have strong leadership in developing and empowering people, and you're going to see that in the NPS scores in a minute. And you also have even your worst areas, sound judgment and communicating effectively, is above average. So if you were in any other organization that did these 360 assessments across the world, you would be at or below EPIC for the most part. So this was very good results all the way around. Next slide. We also, same survey, the respondents identified the ones in yellow as the top 5 competencies that you need right now. And I want you to take a look at credibility, is now on number 4. Number 1 is sound judgment. 2 is communicating effectively. 3 is results orientation. I would suggest to you that the last 4 years have been heavily focused on regaining credibility and stature and consistency and quality of relationships around the state and within the organization. And now results orientation is starting to move up to a higher level and pay more attention because you can. You've established a very strong track record of credibility. Now, the good news is the lowest score you got here is a 4, which most organizations would die for. You got a high of 4.32. That's out of a scale of 1 to 5. Next slide. And here's the NPS scores. Now, remember what NPS stands for. It's Net Promoter Score. It is what percentage of people on a scale of 1 to 10, what percentage of people gave you a 9 or 10, percentage of people that gave you a 9 or a 10, minus the people that scored a 0 through 6, the percentage of those. So very narrow top box, 9, 10. Subtract the percentage of people at 0 through 6. 7 and 8 are passives. They don't get to count in the calculation, but they're really important to you because those are the folks you want to bring to the top and move on. Here was EPIC in the fall, which, by the way, these scores were significant better than the year before that and the year before that, but I just show you 2 sets. This is the results today, or this year. The survey was closed on Monday. Now, what do the numbers mean? Well, good is 0 to 30, so the green is good, or great rather, I'm sorry, great. This is great at 30. 70 is where you would have to get to be excellent, which is Lexus, John Deere, Mercedes-Benz. That's the kind of level of sophistication that it takes to get to the 70s and 80s. But you're in excellent condition. Here's the crazy part. This is the internal measures. And if you take a look, they're all about the same. I can tell you that after a long time of doing this, it is a rare occurrence that you ever find a public organization like a school district with faculty having the same attitudes about working and recommending a place to work as the administrators. It's easy to be happy to be an administrator when you're in charge, right? It's not so easy when you get the stuff coming down the pike. Well, I got news for you. At EPIC, it must not come down the pike. It must make sense to the front lines because you're seeing it in your results, you're seeing it in other places, and you're seeing it in faculty having a 61 rating, 61% more think that this is a great place, 9 and 10, than 0 to 6. Notice where faculty was before at 40. Administrators came down a little bit, but they're a small end, so there's variability. I do want to point out one number. Students are at 4. My God, that looks terrible, right? The typical NPS score for students is somewhere between -30 and -70. Kids are just predisposed to not really like going to school, except when you're at EPIC. And this number, by the way, went up by 1 point. It actually is up 3 points over the last 2.5 years. So if you don't get excited about NPS scores, I don't know what I'm going to do to excite you, because these are numbers that a lot of companies would die for, if that makes sense at all. Next slide. Now, just to make sure that we're on the same track, remember you said that you wanted caregiver information. This is thanks to Mike Flory and his team, Kevin Johnson. They did a separate caregiver survey, and they used some talent in the AI environment to actually interpret this score off of statements that were made. So this was a slightly different approach to identifying the NPS score. But you'll notice NPS for parents was 48 on our original one, and it's 50 here. So very, very consistent results. What you'll find is that the caregiver surveys, very high marks, 69 for teachers who are interacting with parents, so the parents really like the teachers and what's interacting with them. Next slide. There is some curriculum and individualization is the weakest one, still a 40, well into the great categories. communications, customer service, very high. So all in all, a very good showing for client support. Next slide. You also wanted to know a little bit more about Family Engagement Department on an annual basis. This is a graphic in the state. We have Christy Rich and Leisha Albaugh that manage this unit. The blue are things that are done. The reds are things that are still to be done by the end of June 30th. You can tell that there's a lot of intensity around the major cities. That's where the enrollments are. But you can see that it's spread pretty much across the entire state. Next slide. Here's the interesting one. This is a fairly growing environment. Had about a total annual attendance of 4,700, moved up to 13,000. So they're making a bigger and bigger impact along the way. At some point, we'll switch out the volume of people participating and identify some relationship. Does it have an impact on caregiver satisfaction, on relationships, and scores? You can tell when things are happening, Q1, Q2, 3, and 4. For those of you in the private sector, they don't start Q1, it's July 1, not January 1. So you're working, the Q4 is the one that we're in right now. So, and that, my friends, is the data report for the school district. Ginger, I told you the NPS scores were the highlight, but all of it is a very good sign that things are moving along beautifully in a lot of different positions. Questions or comments?
The teachers, the level of work that's taken by teachers and students to get to hear is something that I've never seen before. And I just would like to take the moment to appreciate that is outstanding. So I appreciate the scores and the delivery.
Well, Ginger, it's a sign of incredibly good leadership, working with some really dedicated teachers and faculty. They're facing problems just like everybody else does, but they face them with excitement. And the NPS score internal is an indication that they don't feel alone. And they're not abandoned. They're actually a part of a greater partnership that really makes things happen. Even when the scores are emerging, you know, we're not doing great, fantastic work on the academic side yet. It's just a matter of time. But we're making huge progress. And that's a great sign when they can say, look, I know where we are, and I know where we want to be, and I want to be a part of that.
I think that part of the thing that shouldn't be lost here, at least, is how many students EPIC has taken on from every type of potential lesser starting place, you know, or further away starting place. And to get this much movement and to see it happening in sync, you know, it's not, no one is pushing, no one's pulling. This is just a group of people advancing the ball. And
That's right.
it's a pleasure. It's a joy. And I know, because I'm a mother of many children, that is in the nitty-gritty work of it all. You know, that is getting out of bed and getting going every day. And if we are delivering that to caregivers in this environment, then, man, I just don't see any reason that those scores can't go to the excellent
Right on up.
categories. This is not an easy environment to be advancing as a team, inclusive of everyone, regardless of where you started. That's just not something we're seeing at scale. So I could talk a lot more, but I am old enough to realize that that's a big deal, and I appreciate this so much, really, like, really. I mean, you're keeping people alive.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
It is. Well put. Other comments, questions? Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, we are on to consideration of possible action on adding 1 year to Superintendent Bart Banfield's contract. Is there any discussion? Well, I'd accept a motion to do so.
I move to add a year to Superintendent Banfield's contract.
Second.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Flom is absent, Mr. Hammond is absent, Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Okay, well, that was easy. All right, Bart, let's hear it.
Thank you all for that. Appreciate it. Let's jump into the superintendent's update for May. We are coming to the home stretch. State testing is coming to an end here. The marathon is like we can see the finish line in sight here. So we start with our 5 aspirations, and then we will move into what's going on at Epic Charter Schools. So Teacher Appreciation Week, I mentioned that to you earlier. So here's some snapshots of some of our outstanding staff and what they've been doing. And we've been highlighting them all week long on social media and recognizing the value and the work that they do. Here's one little quantifiable nugget for you all. I don't know that I mentioned this, but right now we have, between instruction and non-instruction, we have over 5,000 Oklahomans that have applied to work at Epic Charter Schools. That's from January 1 to now. And last year, I think that number was around 2,000. So more than double. And I think it's an indicator. I think it's an indicator of the stability. I think it's an indicator of your leadership and the school that has been created. But people want to come to work at Epic. And so we have a very, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. We have a very robust applicant pool to choose from. And so I'm very proud of that because we are bringing the best of the best to work with our students. And as you articulated, Ginger, you know, we are serving, in some cases, the most vulnerable population in Oklahoma of kids. And so having the very best for them is life-changing. It really is. So really appreciate our staff and the work. And I also want to give a shout out to our parents. You know, our model is different in that it's not just on the teacher. It's actually on the parent as well to partner with the teacher to create this environment of agency for our students. And so our teachers work hand in hand with our parents. And so if we've got parents that are watching on the live stream right now or maybe later on, I just want to give you a shout out and say thank you for your dedication to being an active participant in your child's education. And so really, really proud of everybody. All right, next slide. So let's go through our standards mastery. Really proud, Bob, of the progress that's been made, particularly in the subject of math, which has always been one of our lower scoring subjects. And so really proud of our principals who've been leading the way. So let's talk about ELA formative completion. So that's Sheila Sanders, Jeff Upton, Jenna Lee Hitchcock, Emily Shackelford for ELA formative mastery. Sheila Sanders again, Lori Gray, Trishelle Raymond. For math formative completion, Sheila Sanders, Emily Shackelford, and Amanda Lashley. And then math formative mastery is Amanda Pilgrim, Lori Gray, and April Golden. Very, very proud of our principals and the work that they're doing of making sure that our lessons are aligned to Oklahoma state standards and that our students are not just completing them, but also mastering them as well. 6 EPIC students selected for OSAI. So earlier this semester, about 900 students from across the state submitted auditions for one of the 240 spots for the 2024 Oklahoma Summer Arts Institute at Quartz Mountain. 6 students from EPIC Charter Schools have been selected to attend this summer, and I wanted to give them a shout out. So that's Lucas Jackson, Taylor Meeks, Bailey Portell, Charlie Stott, Emma Thornhill, and Christian Young. So since 1977, the Oklahoma Arts Institute has connected Oklahoma's aspiring artists with renowned teaching artists from around the world. And these artists travel to Quartz Mountain to provide collegiate level training and mentorship to students in one of 8 disciplines in literary, visual, and performing arts. So named Oklahoma's official School of the Arts in 1991 through a joint resolution by the Oklahoma legislature, OSAI is the premier program for aspiring young artists. So really, really proud of our kiddos. Next slide. How about kindergarten graduation? So we hosted our first ever kindergarten graduation at multiple locations throughout the state of Oklahoma. And there's a couple of pictures. And if you haven't had a chance, if you're on social media, I believe our communications team that does a fantastic job actually interviewed some of these 5-year-olds on everything from what they wanted to be to what they liked most about their teacher. And so if you've not had a chance to look at these adorable kindergarten kids, there's some video on social media for them, and that's the future right there. You're looking at it. So very proud of our kindergartners. Epic Collegiate Academy. So we started Epic Collegiate Academy just a couple of years ago, and so we've had 49 students graduate with their associate's degree from Oklahoma Christian University this semester. Last week, 28 students participated in the commencement ceremony at Oklahoma Christian University. So if you're not familiar with ECA, what's really cool about the program is that students can choose to utilize their learning fund to receive dual credit, so they're getting high school credit, but they're also getting college credit, and by the time they graduate from high school, they walk away with not only a high school diploma, but an associate's degree, which advances them 2 years into their college education. And we had 49 students graduate with their associate's degree, and we're incredibly proud of them. And I just learned this, that we've had 4 applicants, I think, overall for next year. We had 200 sign up for Epic Collegiate Academy, and 4 are coming to us from brick and mortar. They aren't even current Epic students, but they're coming specifically for ECA because they want to be a part of that. So it's an opportunity to earn not just their high school diploma, but an associate's degree for free. For free. And in this economy, with inflation and all the things that are bearing down on Oklahoma families, being able to provide your child with a free college education matters. And so really proud of our College and Career Readiness Department, and I think it fulfills that aspiration that we talk about, that aspiration number 1. Epic graduates will be future ready and in demand, and so we're making good on that promise with ECA. Next slide. So this has been over 2 years in the making. We have been talking about a foundation for our school, and so Epic is pleased to announce that a nonprofit foundation has been established for the sole purpose of helping Epic students and families succeed. So the foundation will seek to raise funds for items such as winter coats, food insecurity, homeless children needs, shelter for families, scholarships for post-high school success, and anything else that supports an Epic family. The foundation is a separate entity from Epic Charter Schools. The foundation has its own set of board members and guidelines, and they will determine the direction of the foundation, but in close conjunction with our school leaders. So now that the foundation has been officially approved, they will begin fundraising in the fall. So excited about that foundation and the good work that we will be able to do in the community because of that Community Strategy Foundation. Excited to see that. Here's some pictures from prom. We actually had prom both in the Norman area and in the Jinx, Tulsa area. So here's some pictures from the Epic Charter School Masquerade Ball. So kids had a great time, and I think that is what's that called? The merry-go-round there? Carousel. Yeah, carousel. They actually had a carousel. I didn't have a carousel at my prom. So that's pretty cool to actually have an indoor carousel where kids are able to have a good time. And so it's really cool to see the diversity and the inclusivity for Epic students that in many cases they didn't know each other, but they came together and were able to have a great time with one another, and a good time was had by all. Student Excellence Award. So we gave out one of these awards last semester. The Student Excellence Award will be awarded at the end of the second semester, so that's this next month in June. So the Student Excellence Award is designed to cultivate student learning and development, and every semester we choose one student recognized for their outstanding efforts and growth, and teachers, caregivers, and fellow students can nominate someone they feel has made a difference in their community and displayed the qualities of excellence that we strive for at Epic. So students can even nominate themselves. So for more information, and the nomination form can be found on our website. Entries will close at the end of May. Next. I want to give you all a heads up. Most of the time I talk about the school, but I have actually been invited to serve on a national advisory board for FEV Tutor. So FEV Tutor's mission is to make high-quality online learning options available to all students at all times. And they connect students with one-on-one live professional academic support when they need it, regardless of their income or their core learning environment. FEV is committed to delivering solutions for K-12 schools, districts, families, and driving measurable student gains for stimulating academic growth. So FEV Tutor is privileged to have the support, expertise, and strategic thought partnership of their advisory board. Their board is comprised of school superintendents, education advocates, researchers, and business leaders. And so, yet this is another indicator, that 2-3 years ago, I don't know that we get this invitation to participate on a national advisory board, but the fact that people are seeking our input on how they can improve their product, not just for EPIC students, but for students nationwide. So we're going to have an opportunity to give hands-on input for the National Advisory Board for FEP Tutor. So look forward to that. This one's pretty special, so I need you to bookmark this one. The Oklahoma legislature passed Senate Bill 1307, and Governor Stitt has signed it into law. The law will provide state funding for each Pathways participant, as well as an exemption for this age group from state testing requirements. So beginning with the 24-25 school year, not this year, but next year, EPIC will offer classes to any person who is a resident of Oklahoma, over the age of 21 and under the age of 26 who has not completed their 12th grade, provided they are able to provide evidence to this board, the EPIC Board of Education, that during the time before they were 21 years of age, they were unable to attend school for a definite period or periods of time, which made it impossible for them to complete the 12th grade before reaching the age of 21. This is a significant milestone in our state, because we are bringing a second chance to students that have, for whatever reason, fallen through the cracks and become statistics. And so starting this next school year, we will accept any young adult, age 21 to 26, that can provide documentation of a hardship that prevented them from completing their high school diploma. And so I want that to sink in, and we're going to share a video. I'm going to introduce you to one of our current Pathways students, and I want you to see the impact that this organization is having on one life. But this program, Pathways, is changing the trajectory of lives. Go ahead.
Pathways is a program that EPIC created to serve students who have aged out of traditional education through the age of 25 a pathway to earn a high school diploma. Due to poverty or trauma or homelessness, this program has given a vision for the future for many Oklahomans that thought it was hopeless. Currently, we're serving more than 100 students.
I just was going through a lot of hard times with my family. My dad was my rock. Whenever I was 17, I woke up one morning, he was with the Lord, and I made the choice to drop out of school, and I just worry about keeping my belly full and my rent paid. I had been working on my GED, and I didn't feel like it was good enough, and I felt like I was disappointing my dad in a way almost as well, so I needed to figure out a way to get my actual diploma.
We have mentors, and our mentors are here to help guide students through their curriculum, through learning life skills, to career development, to see what are their post-secondary plans. The mentors meet with the students every other week for 1 hour, but they're there for them whenever they need and explore their future plans and goals.
We at Pathways desire to connect each student with a pathway to reach their dreams.
Without the diploma, I can't get to the military.
If a student comes to Pathways and they have no credits completed at all, we expect that they would finish the program within 2 years, as they are expected to earn 1 full credit per month.
I'm very grateful that I did find this program, and I thought it was going to take a lot longer. I actually had a goal set that I would at least be done within the year of when I started. Within 6 months later, I'm going to be graduating, and that's working full time, and so if I can do it, anyone really can. And that's the truth.
I want to read something to you. This came out of the Tulsa World today. Chan Hellman's research on how hope is compromised, I'm sorry. This is, how it is comprised. He said hope is comprised of 3 things. 1, attainable goals. 2, pathways to achieve your goals. And 3, a belief that you have what it takes to achieve them. And what we are doing at EPIC Charter Schools with our Pathways program is we are pairing hope with action. And we are going to have an impact starting this year on thousands of Oklahomans' lives, and you think about the impact, the generational impact that we can have by helping thousands of Oklahomans that for whatever reason have slipped through the crack, and we meet them right where they're at. And we pick them up and we get them across the finish line so that they can move on with their lives to better support themselves, their spouses, and their children. And so we do a lot of really cool things around here, but I struggle to find more meaningful work or a more meaningful program than Pathways. We're literally changing lives. That's it.
Have you guys ever considered having Dr. Hellman come do his Hope, Champions of Hope training? I don't know if
I think it's a wonderful idea. I
is
just read the article today in the Tulsa World.
I'll give
So
you the information. We've brought him for our
have you?
centers. Yeah, he's great.
He's good.
He's really good. Yeah.
I would
I'll send
love
you
to.
the-
Yeah.
I'll get you connected. 'Cause
I would
they
love
have
to.
curriculum and everything, and it is an incredible program. He was
Yeah.
homeless as well.
Yeah, it's just, it's, that makes me emotional when I see that. And that is my why. That is why I got into public education right there, is to help people like that. And so extremely proud of our Pathways kids, extremely proud of this organization and the investment that you all made, because it was your decision 2 years ago to start this program. And all we've done is follow your lead, and we have funded that without any support up to this point from the state of Oklahoma to serve these kids. So we've basically served them for free up to this point, and now we're going to be able to receive state aid for those kiddos to be able to provide not just the core academic services, but then think about the wraparound services that we have at EPIC that we can offer these young adults to help them not just get across the finish line, but to equip them for the next step in their life. So that young man talked about the military. That was his goal. So whatever the goal is, whether it's college, whether it's career tech, whether it's the military, whatever that is, we're going to help those kids get across the finish line. I couldn't be more proud of our school.
How do we advertise this, or how do we get the word out about Pathways?
That's a great question, and it's actually a conversation that we're having right now. And Shauna is smiling behind you because we just had that conversation today, didn't we? And she and the communications team are going to be meeting to brainstorm on how do we promote this, who needs to know, and identifying different groups. And so for you all and for anybody that's watching out there, there are a variety of groups that are working with disadvantaged youth.
Definitely pivot.
Yeah, and so please email me. I want to know who these people are, and because the clock is ticking. You can see when they turn 26, they are aging out. And so some of these are getting closer and closer to that age. We want to help them get across the finish line and then on to that next life step. So be thinking about that, and if you know of folks that their organization is dedicated to youth and helping them, please let us know who they are, because we want to begin that outreach to them, that direct outreach. But then I promise you, we have plans starting in June to be able to market and promote this program that is already serving hundreds, but I think it has the potential to serve thousands.
And it's wonderful, and I want to also encourage or think about, I don't know how this will go, but I've been thinking a lot about justice-involved families, and we've been seeing a lot of the fallout, I think, on the family structure of what it's like to be in that system. And so I think about that and that impact, and that this might be a way to repair, and it made me cry. I mean, no doubt
Me
about
too.
it. Young people, I just feel we owe them everything right now, and to be able to meet their needs and dreams makes me emotional. I'm grateful for the state meeting us here, and I demand better leadership. Okay, Janice.
Sorry.
So Bart brought me to Epic to make the financials not make you cry.
Yes.
Like that was the
Never
entire
makes me
point of
cry.
me coming here.
Denise, I'm so happy right now. I feel so
this is
good.
the least crying portion of the program as it is. In the packet that you received, the very long packet that you received, were the financials for the month ending March 31st, so end of the first quarter of the calendar year 2024, end of our third quarter. Everything is still trucking along and looking really healthy. Fund balance at the end of the month was just over 60 million. Revenue is higher than anticipated at 77%, and expenses are still lower than the goal at 69%, so that is very healthy. Our expenditures and revenue charts, I call them my Bob charts, still look really normal and really good. Next year, we'll start seeing a lot less of those big spikes, which is that fund balance that we're holding on to avoid the ESSER cliff that we've talked about almost ad nauseum. It's going to start kicking in, so that fund balance is going to start going down year over year, which is completely expected in the environment we find ourselves in. And then expenditures, that blue line is just real, it's like a smooth old ride. It's like I-40 and the potholes have been repaired. You know what I mean? It's just like smooth through there. It's really comfortable. And I love seeing that. We will see a spike in June because teacher bonuses happen once a year, so that's expected. And so everything is going really well in the finance department. We have an amazing team. We are neck deep in software conversion, so we're working on a software conversion project, faux pas, Freudian perhaps, software conversion project for the accounting software. That's a 15-month development that you all approved a couple of months ago, and we're spending all of our time dreaming and planning for our go live in 2025. So it will be very exciting to see the dashboards come live in finance and having software that is more user-friendly and a better tool for all stakeholders, including yourselves. So if you have a question about anything that I've presented or anything in the packet, I'm happy to answer them. Other than that, it is business as usual in finance.
I'm just glad that you're making that kind of progress, software level progress,
Yeah.
not in the past cleaning up anything. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's excellent work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let Brandon pull a couple of things here.
Oh, just a motion to
sorry.
receive
Yeah.
the finance.
Oh, okay, sorry. We need a motion to accept the financial statements for the period ending March 31.
I'll motion that.
I'll second.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Flom and Mr. Hammonds are absent. Ms. Myers?
Yes.
And Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Okay, now, Brandon.
So for the consent agenda, we can vote on these items as a block, but if you do want to talk about any of the items, we have to take them out, and all you have to do is just suggest an item to be taken out, and we'll remove it and have the opportunity to talk. I do suggest we remove two items. There's one item 4E, and it has to do with our auditor, and there's just a slight clarification I want to make. And then I'd also like to remove item 4R. We are not ready with that contract. We're a couple days away, so we will have it next month. So any other items that you would like to take out?
Okay, then I will move that we,
Wait,
oh, go ahead. Oh, I thought you had.
Everybody good? Okay.
Yeah. So I would move that we pull E and R from the consent agenda.
All right.
Can I get a second?
It's made.
Oh, I just do that.
That's all anybody can remove anything.
Okay, great. And then I'd accept a motion to accept the consent agenda, the consent items.
I will move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Ms. Flom, okay. Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Flom and Mr. Hammonds are absent. Ms. Myers?
Yes.
And Mr. Vella?
Yes.
And then I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
No, wait, we have to talk about, real quick, we have to talk about item 4E.
I'm trying to be done.
So Janice is so great at being specific, and she wants to make sure that everybody knows that this item for Aldridge, they are going to be the auditor to do an audit in the 24-25 school year, but it will be for the auditing of the 23-24 school year. Is that correct, Janice? So we just wanted to make sure.
Got it, okay. And we will fix this. There's nothing to worry about.
No, the document is fine in your packet. We just wanted to clarify that it's for 24-25, but for auditing a different school year, so.
All right. Do I need to make any action on it?
Yeah, just make a motion to approve item 4E for Aldridge and Associates for the auditor for 24-25 school year to review the 23-24 budget.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Do I have a second? Me. Okay. Ms. Berry? Yes. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Ballman, Mr. Hammonds are absent. Ms. Myers?
Yes.
And Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Okay, now. Great. I'll make a motion, we adjourn. You got it.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Ballman, Mr. Hammonds are absent. Ms. Myers?
Yes.
And Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.